Chapter 37. The Whole Truth. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1 verse 9. The day of the court hearing had finally come. The air was thick with tension long before they reached the courthouse. As Ruthie and James drove into town, the silence inside the ute was more than quiet. It was suffocating. Every breath carried weight. Every glance toward the looming horizon came laced with dread. The hum of the engine murmured beneath them, steady but subdued, like even the ute understood it wasn't just carrying them to a courtroom, it was carrying them into the heart of everything they'd survived. Ruthie sat with her hands in her lap, fingers knotted tightly, knuckles pale. She stared straight ahead, lips pressed into a line, her jaw clenched, not to hold back tears, but to hold herself together. James didn't speak. He just reached across the seat and gently laced his fingers through hers. She didn't have to look at him to know he was praying. As they pulled into the car park, the courthouse loomed, cold, austere, its concrete edges sharp against the gray morning sky. Ruthie's breath caught in her throat. She'd imagined this moment 100 different ways, but none of them felt like this, like stepping into a furnace with ice in her chest. Inside, the courtroom was colder still, not in temperature, but in tone. Everything was rigid, orderly, impersonal, as though trauma could be filed away neatly and bound in legal jargon. The clock ticked, the air conditioning whispered like a warning. Ruthie's skin prickled with a chill that wasn't entirely physical. She sat beside James on the hard wooden bench, her spine straight, but her shoulders rigid with effort. His thigh pressed gently against hers. Their hands remained intertwined, his thumb brushing softly over the top of her knuckles, again and again. She could feel her heartbeat in her ears. The clerk called her name, and the world seemed to still. Ruthie stood, not fast, not confident, just upright, on legs that felt like stone, carrying a body that no longer felt like it belonged to her. Each step toward the stand echoed louder than it should have. The sound of her boots on the polished floor felt intrusive in the sacred hush of the room. It wasn't just a walk, it was a passage. From who she was then to who she had to be now. She clutched the paper in her hand, but it trembled. Her breath shallow. Her lips parted slightly, drawing in one more lungful of courage. The pages blurred and sharpened again beneath her eyes, as if the words themselves needed her to read them when she was ready. She didn't look at Dylan. Not yet. She looked at James. He was sitting in the front row, upright, still, watching her like she was the most important thing in the room. Because she was. His eyes didn't leave hers. She held his gaze for a heartbeat. Then she turned. Only then did she lift her head toward the bench. The judge gave a slight nod. Ruthie cleared her throat. Her fingers tightened around the edges of the paper. And then quietly, but without hesitation, she began to speak.
At first,
Ruthie began.
I thought Dylan really loved me.
Her eyes were dry, focused.
He was attentive, remembering small details I didn't even know I'd shared. My favorite songs. How I liked my coffee. He'd check in if I had a headache. His texts each morning reminded me to drink water, to dress warmly. His kindness felt like shelter.
She paused, breath fluttering. For a moment, her gaze drifted across the courtroom to where Dylan sat, head bowed, staring at the floor. He wouldn't meet her eyes. That somehow hurt more than if he had looked straight through her. Ruthie inhaled softly and turned her face back to the judge. Her hands tightened around the paper.
I told myself it was protective love, proof that I was deeply cherished. maybe even adored. I thought I was lucky.
Her voice steadied.
But love that glows like fire can also burn.
The room stilled.
What began as concern became control.
Her tone didn't rise, it dropped. Quiet, hollow.
Don't talk so much, he'd say. Let me know where you are at all times, he insisted, calling it protection.
She exhaled.
I thought it was love, but it was the beginning of the cage.
Ruthie looked at the paper briefly, but she wasn't reading. She was remembering.
The first time he hit me
She said, her voice low but clear.
was because I said no.
She inhaled. Her chest rose with effort. Her fingers curled in her lap.
He cried after, said it was the stress, that he was sorry, that I'd said the wrong thing, and if I'd just been softer, it wouldn't have happened.
A pause, then another.
And I believed him.
She whispered.
I thought it was my fault, that I'd made him do it.
The gallery held its breath.
I believed him when he said my tone provoked him, not just that time, but every time after. I believed him when he said no other man would love me the way he did, that I was the cause of his pain, that staying with me was his act of mercy.
Her voice trembled, but it didn't break.
Then it got worse.
Her hands shook now.
In January, he shoved me into the kitchen wall. I was holding a glass. It shattered in my hand and I bled. A lot. He didn't help. He just screamed at me for being dramatic and for getting blood on the tiles.
A harsh breath escaped her.
In February, everything got darker. He'd lost hours at work and came home angrier every day. He told me I was the reason life was hard, that I made things worse and he blamed me for the money being gone. But I was barely eating. I was scared to use anything. Meanwhile, he was drinking, gambling, disappearing for hours.
She closed her eyes.
I thought that was as bad as it could get, but I was wrong.
Her next words landed like glass underfoot.
In April,
She said, voice thin.
I tried to leave. I'd packed a bag. I was ready.
She paused. A breath caught in her throat, a breath tangled in memory. Across the room, Dylan shifted. His mouth opened slightly, a flicker of urgency sparking across his face. But his lawyer placed a hand on his arm, a subtle shake of the head. Dylan sat back down, jaw clenched, eyes on the floor.
I told him I couldn't take it anymore, that I was done. I walked toward the door.
Her hands began to shake.
I didn't make it 2 steps.
She blinked, her voice cracked.
He grabbed me and ripped the keys out of my hand. Pain shot through my wrist. And then he hit me, so hard that I dropped to the ground.
The courtroom was still.
And then he dragged me, by the hair, into the bedroom. I screamed. I kicked. I begged him to stop.
Her eyes shimmered, but she didn't look away.
And then he forced himself on me.
The words fell into the space between them with the full, unflinching weight of truth.
I said no, screamed and cried.
Her voice was breaking now, but steady, determined.
He told me if I was really in pain, I'd be screaming louder.
She swallowed hard, the memory scraping its way up her throat.
He said I owed him, and just before he left the room, he put his hands around my neck.
Her fingers brushed her collarbone as if the imprint still lingered.
He told me I don't get to leave alive.
A tear slid down her cheek. She didn't wipe it away. She let it fall. Stillness followed, not silence, but something deeper, something thick, heavy, the kind of stillness that hums beneath the skin, the kind that holds its breath and waits to see what breaks first.
I remember cleaning myself up after while he sat on the couch, turned on the TV and ordered pizza. He acted like nothing happened.
She blinked, swallowed.
That's when I knew I had to leave, not because I was brave, but because I saw the truth. I was an object to him, something he owned.
Her voice grew firmer.
I believed he would kill me. Maybe not that night, but eventually.
Another breath.
But I left. I waited until he went to the pub. I walked to the train station with one small bag and $53 in my pocket. I didn't have a plan, just a will to survive.
She faltered, just slightly.
But he still found me.
Her voice dimmed.
He tracked me. I don't even know how, but he did. And I truly believe, if things had gone differently that day, I wouldn't be here now.
She straightened slightly.
I believe God saved me through a stranger, a man in work boots. He didn't know me, but he saw me. And when I needed safety, he gave it. Not out of duty, but love, the kind that says, love your neighbor as yourself.
Her tears welled, but didn't fall.
He gave me more than protection. He gave me a way back, to myself and to God.
Then the calm broke.
But the pain didn't stop. I've lived through sleepless nights robbed by flashbacks. My body responded to every sound with panic, and I was trapped in fear, in trauma.
She gripped the stand tighter.
And Dylan didn't stop. He didn't even let me choose to leave him. He tracked my phone. He found me again.
Her voice shook.
He broke into the one place where I finally felt safe. He threatened me, and the people I had come to love. And then, he took my freedom.
Her voice softened, but the words cut sharp.
He kidnapped me, hurt me in ways I still don't have words for, and I honestly thought I was going to die.
She steadied herself.
But something had shifted. He could lay hands on my body, but not my soul. That part belongs to God.
Her gaze lifted.
I won't pretend the months that followed were easy. They weren't. I was haunted. I couldn't sleep. Couldn't breathe if someone stood too close, and I lived on edge, constantly scanning for danger.
Her grip tightened.
And yet,
She looked up.
I'm standing here and I am not his victim anymore.
She turned to Dylan. He still wouldn't meet her eyes.
I'm not here for revenge.
She said.
I'm here because truth deserves a voice.
Her shoulders lifted. Her breath deepened.
I don't want to live in fear anymore. I want peace. I deserve peace.
Her voice softened.
And I forgive him. Dylan, I hope you find God. I hope you heal.
She turned back to the judge.
But I need this court to understand. This man is dangerous. I deserve safety. I deserve peace. And I cannot have that if he is free. Neither can the people who loved me when I was still a stranger. Letting him walk free won't just endanger me, it endangers every community that believes in love, in God, in goodness.
She exhaled.
And I'm asking you now to protect what's left, so that what was broken might still be rebuilt.
The prosecutor gave a single, solemn nod. The judge's voice was quiet but firm. Thank you, Miss Matthews. You may step down. Ruthie folded the paper slowly. Her hands trembled, but her steps didn't. Her breath deepened. James was waiting. He didn't say a word. He just opened his arms. She stepped into them. In the hush that followed, something shifted. Not in the courtroom. In her.
Thank you for listening to this chapter of Healing on the Land. If this story has touched your heart, I'd love for you to come join me for the next chapter. You can find it here on this channel. If you'd like to support more Christian storytelling, you can purchase the full book or make a donation using the link in the description. Your support, no matter the size, helps us to continue writing stories of faith, healing, and hope. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. May God bless you, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.